I have smoked weed just about every day for the past like 7 years. So I'm gonna go through all the reasons why I finally decided to stop, and also what helped me actually stop. But first, let's talk about the first time I smoked weed, man. I was 18, which in my case, I was a bit of a late bloomer compared to my friends who started when they were like anywhere between 14 and 16. Now, I grew up with two parents who never smoked once in their lives. Like, not even a puff of anything, bro. So, like, it was ingrained into me that smoking was the worst thing ever. And yeah, it's obviously bad, but try to stop a teenager from trying it, you know? I'll always remember the first time that I got caught with it. My mom has a pretty funny way of describing the bong and the pipe. She called it weed apparatus and weed paraphernalia. And I still don't know what that shit means, man. I don't know. I hear apparatus and I think of like the portal gun from Portal. But the first time I smoked weed was with three buddies of mine in the back of one of their cars. We drove off on this dirt back road away from the main road and did it there. So I was sitting there in the back seat and the guys packed my toke for me and lit it for me. And my first toke went pretty smooth actually. I remember the first thing I noticed was the taste. And I told my buddies it tasted the same way it smells when you walk into Canadian Tire. Whatever the fuck that means, like interpret that how you will. So I actually had three tokes out of the bong my first time. And the third one just absolutely ripped the throat right out of me. Like I got fucked. And if you know, then you know that the first time the bong violates your throat, it's just fucking heinous, bro. But needless to say, I got really high. I got the munchies almost immediately. Like, we only got just back on the main road. And I wanted a cream egg McFlurry from McDonald's, man. That was my first munchies. And one of my buddies, he was in the front passenger seat. And whenever I expressed my desire for that cream egg McFlurry, he would tell me, you can't mix pasty with pasty, man. And like, I had no clue what he was talking about. He kept saying it over and over, but finally he elaborated. Smoking weed gives you the pasties, and so you can't eat ice cream because it's quote-unquote pasty. But yeah, man, for all those good times, there's a lot of lost memories too, because that shit fries your brain. And weed became a problem for me when I started smoking it alone. It caused me to like isolate more without realizing it and be more avoidant of my friends. And then during the COVID pandemic, man, I got way too comfortable being at home and smoking all day. At that point in time too, I was doing some like general studies in university and I hated the online classes, dude. I just couldn't deal with that, so I dropped out and I got a job. And honestly, that's a whole other story too right there, but in that like in-between period, I was unemployed during COVID. And when the pandemic ended, man, I felt anxious to even leave the house. Like, literally, to leave the house for any reason made me anxious. And at this point, I was probably smoking like an ounce a week. It was dark times, man, but once I found a job, things picked up again. I was still smoking weed every day, though. And, like, the messed up thing is that a lot of my memories from the past 5 years are really blurry and kind of blended together. I wasn't living, like, I was just numbing myself and reacting to life. But last year in 2024, I had an interview with Canadian Border Services, and that was my motivation to take a break from smoking. I wanted a sharp mind for that interview, so I stopped for 3 weeks, had the interview, and actually went 2 more weeks before smoking again. I didn't pass the interview, but I'm coming up on the 1-year mark here soon actually, so that means I got another shot and I'm excited for that, but I digress. When I smoked again after the 5 weeks, I got unbelievably stoned. Like, it was awesome. I was looking up in the sky while the sun was setting and I thought, man, how fucking cool would it be to go skydiving? And now that's kind of on my bucket list. Like, I don't know when I'm gonna do it, man, but I gotta do it. And I remember being so stoned that I was like just amused by the simple act of unzipping my backpack. I often forget too that cannabis is a psychedelic, you know? I was just really present in that moment and overjoyed by everything in life, and like really that's the way life should be all the time. But yeah, after that it was a slippery slope, man. Like I ended up smoking the next few days after that, and next thing I knew it was a week and then 2 weeks of just daily smoking, and I was right back where I started. Weed dependency happens gradually, man, so you gotta be careful. Like, you don't notice yourself becoming dependent until it's too late. But the good news is that any withdrawal effects that you do get, they mostly go away after about 3 days, and I can attest to that. The first 3 days are always the hardest, and then after like 2 or 3 weeks, you kind of stop craving it. I would get really irritable without it. I would lose my appetite, and I would lose interest in my normal hobbies and stuff. Luckily, though, it didn't affect my sleep. But yeah, let's talk about where I'm at right now. I fuck with edibles hard. I realized that my problem isn't even weed, it's just the bong. Like, that shit is addicting as hell. It's so quick and easy, but honestly, the high from edibles is much nicer. Part of what made me realize I wanted to stop smoking too was while I was taking psilocybin mushrooms. I used to always hit the bong while I was tripping, but this one time I got this intense anxiety in my gut, like just dread. So I allowed that feeling to kind of just be there, and I tried to like analyze it. And I was anxious because I didn't want to be damaging my lungs anymore. And you perceive some pretty wild stuff on mushrooms. So, like, what was happening, I was, like, involuntarily picturing my lungs in my head, except they were personified. They had faces, and they could talk to me. And every time I smoked, bro, they would get all battered and bruised and, like, be in pain, and I could literally, like, hear them getting hurt. And it was actually kind of scary, but it got scarier because they would fucking talk to me and say, no, it's okay, we can take another beating if you want to keep smoking. And I didn't want to do that to my poor lungs. What did they ever do to me? So that made me feel horrified. Like, I stopped then and there, and I went on a break, and yeah, I had some relapses, but ultimately that helped me stop smoking every day. And then I transitioned to the edibles, which is where we're at now. Not gonna lie though, I will still have a little puff on rare occasion, you know what I'm saying? Like, the other day my best friend came over, bro, and he brought the bong, so I had to indulge a little bit. So, yeah, you know, I just have such a sharper mind, though, when I don't smoke, and I feel so much more energetic all the time. My mood is naturally high. Like, people say high on life, and yeah, it's true, man, you can get high on life. And when you stop smoking, you naturally make room for healthier habits. Like, I started working out, man, and it feels good to see the progress and feel stronger than you were when you, like, started. I love playing the drums. Music is like medicine for your soul. Even if you don't play it, just listen to it. It's great. And then, of course, I started this channel very recently, which I've been putting pretty much all of my creative energy into, and like that's been a lot of fun for me. And right now, I'm just a guy talking to myself about my own life in front of a computer. But I don't know, I got a feeling someone's gonna hear this eventually, so let me know if you struggle with this as well, or something similar, or just whatever. Maybe it was something else for you. Because addiction takes many forms, and actually I think I will make a video about addiction in the future, man. It's one of the scariest things in this world, in my opinion. Not that I think I was addicted to weed, I was dependent on it, but anyway, let's end it on a positive note. This was fun to make, so I hope it was fun to watch and listen to. See ya!